Y, Z, and I started doing my, my research, started doing more research, and I started building my base. So in 2007, I began to approach a lot of eBay sellers. I began to approach a lot of guys in the US, and that's where I started finding my contact. So I started with people from the US, from Hong Kong. So we
Okay.
started. That's
Yeah.
where my business model started from.
All right. So just quick question, and this is just to put a bit of, as practical as what you're saying is,
Yeah.
was there a point at a time where you just wanted to pack it in? Because in fact, for me, the jumper you got, I'm re-putting that in my head, and I'm just laughing like, what's the reaction? But was there any time within all of this that you almost packed it up to say, you know what, maybe I should go back to a paying job?
I think for me, I've never been interested in a paying job, and that's the honest truth. Because this were conversation we had, with my wife. Um, excuse me, when I started, what do you want to become? Where do you see yourself? So I've always seen myself as an hustler. So that wasn't even only the stumbling block. I had issues with suppliers from Highland as well. When I was selling DVDs as well. It started on the good note, and I think by the time we did the third shipment, the guy just ran away with my money. We're talking about £1,012 again. So it wasn't. But I've always been tenacious. I've always been strong in it. I was like, you know what, this is what we're gonna break it down. I've seen this is the direction I wanted to go, and I believed, with all my heart that this is it. But what I always say is, I tend to weigh the success story against the losses. So as long as I'm still in the plus, well, let's keep going. Do you
Mm,
see? And
mm.
because I've done it before in terms of getting the supplier, so that wasn't the only supplier. You
Yeah.
see, I had the downside, I had the low side, but what I always say to people is, because I've got a good success story behind me, I keep on kicking the wall down.
Okay. So, please, before I go on, please, for everyone online, if you have any questions, please put it in the comment box, and we'll take that in a couple of minutes. So, at what point did you leave? Now that you are making money from 4 different streams, going back to when you had the four.
Hmm.
At what point did you let go of everything to concentrate, or you never let? Did you ever let go of the
So,
care job or
so
the?
yeah, I did let go of the care in 2006 when I got married. That was gone. By then also I stopped doing my anti-catering job. That was gone. So I was literally, which is what I was saying, concentrating on the center computers, which was the IT business, which has reduced drastically. By 2000, I finished it in 2005 with the 2-1. So that was out of the way. So I only had center computers and my online business, and those were the two things I was concentrating on. But as soon as my online business kicked off, around about the 2008 mark, that I was, it wasn't big money, but I was self-sufficient. We were self-sufficient, and we were already married. I let it go, and I let Pastor Brian say no problem.com. That's what they used to call me then. So I let that go and said, you know what, let me concentrate on online business. And I was beginning to build momentum. But something happened in 2010. This is what I always say to people: for every success story, you don't know what they've been through. In 2010, I had a big shocker. For most people probably would have packed up the shop. But for me, I look back now, for every decision I made, for every step I took, it was God, one in my lowest part. But what happened in 2010, in August 2010, I think it was late August, we put in to buy this property which we are in now. Our offer was already accepted on Saturday,
Okay.
and on Monday I go into the office. My office was broken into,
Wow.
and we lost £60,000 worth of stock in
Wow.
2010. I was the one that got to the office that morning. I picked up the phone. I called my wife. This is what has happened. I called my brother. My brother was on the way to the office. And a grown up man, I always make fun of him with this. My brother packed and busted into tears. And I'm like, what are you crying for? Because when you've been building for the last 3 years, we're talking 2007 to 2010, and 60,000 pounds stock was wiped out from your inventory in 24 hours. We've just, I personally, as a family, we just put an offer on the house to buy. And my wife said to me, and this is where I always say to people, be careful sometimes who you surround yourself with. And I think a lot of people have said this. I always group people into three categories. I like Jesus. I have the general people, the 12, the disciples. I have my inner circle. And when I need to, even I hear from my inner circle, but in my lowest, darkest moment, I have to go into the Holy of Holies to hear from what God was saying. Prior to that, and these were two decisions that we had to make critically in that moment. My wife said to me, my wife is one of my closest in my inner circle, like, like every husband. She said to me, are you sure we're not going to pull out of this deal, even though we had the deposit? And I said, no. A few weeks before we put an offer into this property, I said to her, I had a dream about this property. So we've seen so many properties. So God had already showed me stuff in my dream about this property that we're going to buy. But I never knew there was an obstacle coming.
Mm. Mm.
So when I say to people, you need to be geared up. I don't want to be over spiritual. You need to be geared up in your spirit, man. Sometimes when obstacle comes that can take you out, God already prepares you for a place that He wants to take you to. So in the end, we still bought this property, but something happened in September. I remember then vividly in 2000, when the fall happened, I had to get back up. A lot of people have said, you should have been down. Literally, we're talking almost 80% of my stock was wiped out.
Wow.
But
Oh my God. This network has to. No. Hi guys. Whilst the network is please could you just put in your questions? The couple of questions that have come in already. So if you just put in your questions whilst the network sorts itself out. Okay, so I think I'm just going to react or bring him back in again. So we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. One second. This always happens. Is he back? People are praying for this network. Behave yourself. I can't even get him back in. That's it. Wow. So please put in your questions whilst we work on the network. All right. Somebody's saying the network behave yourself. Wow, what a story. Okay, it seems to be back now. Let me see if I can go live with him. All right, I'm adding him back now. Please tell a friend that we're back. No one should leave. The story is about to get to the peak. All right. Yeah, you might have to twist that camera back.
yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, what's up?
All
Yeah.
right.
So, sorry guys, I'm not sure what happened. This one just decided to go on sleep mode.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is, in my lowest, darkest moment, one of the key things that sustained me is, number one, I was a man of integrity.
Okay.
Now, I when you look at my lifestyle, when you look at who I am, there are a few things I don't play with. My integrity is number one. So what I actually did in those lowest, darkest moments was, well, sometimes I always say Apple is doesn't matter what people say, Apple is one of my biggest friends. In 2010, Apple's, even though I don't use their Apple phones and stuff, but they're still my biggest friend. In 2010, Apple launched a product that made me bounce back within the space of time. they launched what is called the iPod Touch 4, fourth generation, the first iPod Touch that had camera. And you know what, sales went crazy for that product. Integrity is what put me back within the space of, I can't tell you how long, but within the space of a very short period of time, within that same year, put myself and my brother back on the map. We were probably the number one top seller on eBay for that product. A few things I did was to form partnership. So I formed partnership with people, giving people we're talking good return for their money. Negotiate with my supplier for probably 14 days credit line, 7 credit line. And for me, I think whatever you do, those two things always keep it with it close to your heart.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we've got 12 minutes, and this is what I want you to answer questions which people are putting up. At the same time, one last question to round it up. I know you've gone from losing that huge amount of money a couple of days to getting the house you're in. But now your tenacity has got you from that point to being completely mortgage free. Now, again, you've also gone into charity and you've gone into that. So my two-part question is this. Number one, what would your advice be to someone who is going into your kind of online commerce business? Because there's a perception that it's an easy thing to get into, you know, just buy a couple of things and put it on and do all of that. And two, so just so you can answer both of it, how did you go from getting a mortgage to being mortgage free?
Okay, I'll answer the first question. I think now setting up an e-commerce business is a lot easier than it used to be. You can leverage platform like Amazon. You can leverage platform like eBay. They already have the customer base. Yes, you can want to go and set up a website, but don't waste your time. I would say it's just waste of time. Where you need to leverage on that, people can reach out to me. I can teach them what to do. There are credit cards out there. I'm not giving you financial advice, but there are credit cards out there that I have to use, so that I'm still using to leverage my stock. I have a target. I have where I want to go within the next 5 to 10 years, where I see myself go. But for me, I always say to people straight away, when you are in business, especially if you're a business owner, I use the BIC principle, the big principle. Look at when you're in business is very volatile. Things change. When you're making money, strategically, this is even for anyone, even if you're working 9 to 5, whatever you do, 33% of your money, whatever comes into your household, whatever comes into your business, must be reinvested into the capital growth business. If you're not doing that, you need to go and reevaluate what you're doing at home as a husband, as a wife, because things change very quickly. Okay, in those down moments, the capital growth investment is what kept us going, or kept me going, depending on whatever you want to call it. As a business owner, when you're doing IT, take your IT business contract as a business. Don't eat with all the forehands. If you're earning £500 a day, £200 must be reinvested. £200 must be your general expenses, whether you're paying yourself a salary, and £200 you can leave it for your taxes and for whatever you want to do. That's what I would advise anybody to do. And on the other side, I knew my calling from a very young age. I knew this is what I want to do. I want to give back to the community. I want to help the needy. But I've always talked about this. My wife have always said that I always talk about it. When we got married, this was on my plate. And my wife holds me accountable. So a few years ago, I said XYZ. I bought land in Nigeria to sort out the orphanage, but I never done anything about it. I had 2 acres of land. And about 2.5 years ago, spoke to my wife. This is what I wanted to do. Sat with a couple of friends. I think some of them are online on this platform today. And we held ourselves accountable and say, what are you going to do in 2018? What are you going to do? And I said, XY, this is what I wanted to do. God told me in 2018, go and start this orphanage, start small. These are what you need to do. Educate a child program. You need to do water projects. You need to build the orphanage. So I called my uncle up and I said, I needed another land specifically for this purpose. Luckily, my mom's sister was selling her land. I was able to negotiate to pay for it in installment, and we start out the orphanage start. Well, that's how we bought the land, and we started giving scholarship. Obviously, we have 16 children we're giving scholarship to at the moment. And obviously, this week we're already giving another 10 students an online scholarship because the school system is changing, dynamic also changing from classroom scholarship to online scholarship. So in total, we've been able to, give 26 children scholarships. But my own drive is this is where I want to be. Beside the money, beside being financially free, what are you doing to make those children, or what are we doing to make the next generation better? Everybody is called to it. Some are called to sing, some are called to lead worship, some are called to, it's not just about the money. The gifting is firstly about what Christ would do. And
Yeah.
for me, I understand that that is the area of my gift. That's the area of my calling. But I will use this BIG principle to acquire it, not necessarily waiting for money from people to donate, but utilizing my money to become what I want to become.
Fantastic. And there are questions coming in, but a lot of them are just around your tenacity and how you held it. Somebody was asking if you do invest in tech ideas since you run, but I think that these questions they're like Pandora boxes, and 1 hour will not do justice to this. So our guest has been magnanimous enough to be happy to take questions, or if you want to further conversations with him on a hustle level after this. So some of the questions I might be directing it into your inbox, if that's okay. But essentially, people are literally drawn to your drive and tenacity and the big principle and, the great things you've achieved. And almost listening to you feels like you've already got it to where you want to be, but I know you haven't. So
I'm not where I want to be yet.
So my question is, what does your happy ever after? What does it look like?
I think for my principle is you first wherever you are as a person, you should be happy. Whatever you've achieved, because there are people that want to do what you want to do and they're not there. So you have to be happy with yourself first and foremost, and you have to have a thankful heart. For a thankful heart gives you the opportunity to get to where you want to be. So for me, I know where I want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm always been a strong believer of of investment, of making sure my family is fine, of making sure that I leave an inheritance for my children. I believe my children don't have to go in this cycle. Some people believe your children have to work. Yes, they have to work. They have to make their money. But, leaving a 5 million, 10 million pound portfolio that generates, 10% a year, which is almost about £1 million, your children don't have to focus on those things that you have to reinvent the wheel. And not just for your children, but for your children's children. These are what the big boys play. These are what they do. But somebody needs to lay the foundation. And for us as a family, we've decided we are going to be that generation that's going to make that change. And as long as you can make that change, for me, if I can achieve that, which I think, we're on the right step, I will be, I have done well.
All right. Cool. Wow. Somebody just asked what's the big principle. I think that's business, investment, and if you're being gifted in terms of charity. Am I right, sir?
Well, some people call it C, some people call it G, which is gifted. That's my principle. Some people call it C, which is charity. So it depends on what applies to you.
Yeah.
So if you can focus on that as a principle, whenever things come to your table, you just weigh it with those principles. Where does it sit?
Fantastic. Wow. What can I say? I knew when I was coming after you, I knew that you were going to be dropping fire. Like, I'll see how calmly you're dropping it. But if I were in your case, I'll be sweating by now because the fire I'm dropping, you're keeping calm. Thank you so very much for taking time to talk with us. Like I said, guys, our guest is, I will put his...
I think somebody asked a question. Somebody asked a question if there was any regrets. I think I should answer that. I think I'm going to answer it in 1 minute. I think for me, in between the space of 2015 and 2018, I was trying to become a serial entrepreneur and doing so many things at the same time. Now, by 2018, it was a hard decision for me to do, but I went into another meeting, even though my wife has been telling me to focus on my greatest gift, which I think is this online business. If you wake me up from my bed, I can double your money within the space of. But I was doing so many things. I was involved in car business and I was involved in the repair business. But those businesses were draining a lot of my energy. So one of the, if I had to reinvent the wheel, I would, when you are in business, you need to understand what the business is doing at a very early stage. And if the business is draining you, drop it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I know we can be here for the next 3 hours because you've got so much to drop. Well, we will be bringing you back, trust me, in some shape or form. But for now,
You'll be paying £1,000 for now.
but for, but for now, I want to celebrate your hustle. I can conveniently tell you that you're a certified hustler. And we hereby confer you with the role of a hustle hero from the hustle series. God continue to bless your hustle and continue.
No worries, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been great having you guys here again. We've got 30 seconds, but please, we'll go again tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be another fire session. So, ladies and gentlemen, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend. Again, we say hustle continua, Victoria Asata. If you don't understand that, argue with your keyboard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been great having you on land. Thanks for taking the time to join me today and my guest, Mr. Babatunde. God bless your hustle. Thanks for being here. And ladies and gentlemen, have a good